Fala galera, eu sou o Shige da Intel e a gente está começando hoje mais um vídeo da série Play. Seguindo aquela série de 4 episódios dos bastidores de Marvel Avengers, a gente mostra hoje o segundo vídeo. Então se você ainda não viu o primeiro, corre lá no nosso canal que tá lá te esperando, vale a pena conferir. Mas hoje a gente vai ver como os desenvolvedores pensaram em surpreender os fãs do universo da Marvel com esse jogo e como a Intel tá super orgulhosa em poder ter ajudado a fazer isso acontecer. Vamos ver?
So, you think you know every Avengers story? You think you know every challenge they've ever faced? Every member of the team? In this episode, we're asking you to think again. Welcome to an inside look at Marvel's Avengers, presented by Intel. Marvel fans everywhere have followed heroes such as Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Black Widow for decades. But Crystal Dynamics decided early on that in order for them to reassemble the Avengers, they'd have to find a new face for the team. Enter Kamala Khan.
Galera, a personagem foco do jogo é Kamala Khan, que é uma garota jovem, talentosa, ela é super incrível e ela tem um sonho de não ser apenas alguém importante, mas ela quer ser uma Avenger, ela quer ser uma super heroína, ela quer poder contribuir para o mundo.
So when we created our interpretation of Kamala Khan for the story, it was all about going back to the source material. That's when you're going to get the core of the character. What makes Kamala Kamala?
When Willow and I sat down for the first time trying to figure out who this young woman with no name, no background, no origin was, we realized we really wanted to tell a story just about the experience of being young and earnest and impressionable.
The comics were a big part of finding out really what makes Kamala tick and why people identify with her.
The concept of Kamala looking up to people, of wanting to be something when you grow up, it's the superhero. Superhero is her ultimate ideal, it's her ultimate dream.
Young Kamala is just so hopeful and excited, and she's a fangirl, right? I mean, who isn't? It's the Avengers we're talking about here.
Avengers fans are worldwide. They come in all shapes and sizes, and the one thing we all share is how much we love these heroes, and Kamala has that.
Why Kamala became sort of the perfect choice for us was that despite it all, despite being affected herself or labeled inhuman, she still thinks with everything in her core that these superheroes are integral to the survival of humanity.
E já que o papo é Kamala, é claro que a gente tem que falar também dos poderes dela, né? Além dela poder se curar, ela pode aumentar de tamanho e usar essa vantagem, né? Usar essa força toda contra os inimigos, né? E claro, né? Por conta disso, toda aquela destruição, né? Todos aqueles efeitos que a gente falou que a Intel trabalhou junto com a Crystal Dynamics se destacam aqui, né? Então quando você joga com a Kamala, você percebe muito mais esses detalhes gráficos.
First time that I saw just like a sample gameplay of Kamala was a really emotional moment.
Her powers are crazy. They let her get huge, they let her punch things really far away.
Kamala has 3 heroics. She can heal herself, she can do this amazing high five move where she smashes her hand into the enemies and they go flying, and she can also embiggen herself to become giant.
When you activate a heroic, it ends up generating a whole bunch of physical objects that participate in a physics simulation. It makes that move feel more powerful.
The enemies will shatter into more pieces, more of the equipment will break into debris, and all that debris will react to the force that they're exerting on the world with these heroics.
As a combat designer, Kamala's powers are the perfect powers you could possibly have to develop a gameplay combat system around. I mean, she can basically make any weapon she kind of wants to at sort of any range she really wants to. And then once we sort of have the high level framework, we put it into more mechanical terms and figure out like, okay, how does this fit with the game rules?
So when Kamala grows, I mean, there's camera work that needs to be done. There's collision with the enemies where her collision has grown, but the enemies hasn't. When she grabs an enemy and picks them up, we need to be able to align an expanded hand with a normal-sized enemy.
I think the results really show because, I mean, she has the most innate, quick access to doing the most interesting stuff. So I think especially for our animators, like she was like the character everyone wanted to get to, and it was like, oh, I can't wait till we do this, I can't wait till we do this.
At Intel, we approached Crystal with the idea of collaborating on Marvel's Avengers to deliver an enhanced experience on PC. We could have gone through and added more red barrels and breakable tables and things like that, but it wouldn't have been pervasive throughout the core of the game. By adding physical objects to the heroics, we're able to bring that experience to the player throughout the game. When you're playing Kamala, you feel powerful. All of these features help you feel like you are an Avenger.
A gente falou da heroína, mas a gente também tem que falar dos vilões, né? Entender até um pouco mais da história deles. O Tarleton, por exemplo, né, era um cientista brilhante, mas que ninguém dava bola para as ideias dele, né? E cada vez mais que ele abandonava esse lado humano dele, ele ficava mais próximo de se tornar o MODOK, né? Lógico, não tira o fato dele ser um vilão, mas tem esse contexto aí por trás.
In choosing to have aim in our game, it was a big statement because we wanted to take a villainous group that many people may not know about. And we think that aim really deserves to get the spotlight.
People essentially start their journey from a place of feeling like they are doing good for everyone else, regardless of what the cost might be.
And so at the beginning of the game, you meet some of the founders of AIM, George Tarleton and Monica Rappaccini.
The question is always, are you really solving anything, or are you just becoming part of the same chaos? And that is Tarleton's tragedy.
He wants to be the winner. He's just this guy who has really great ideas, but nobody cares.
From the comic book foundation, MODOK was sort of an experiment within AIM. In some ways, the smarter he gets, the more removed from humanity he gets. And the byproduct is his look, but the emotional detachment is the real danger.
Where George is very reserved, Monica is much more assertive.
I never really saw Monica as a team player necessarily. I don't think that she plays that well with others. Monica's issue with the superheroes really is they just sort of stand in her way because all that matters to her are her experiments with the Inhumans. When they try to sort of stop her from doing that, that is her big conflict.
Being that they are a science-first organization, a lot of the human element starts to fall away in how they're structured. When you start to lose that kind of personality inside of the organization, this hive mind kind of becomes a result. So what's a perfect example of that other than a honeycomb shape? So that becomes a pretty prominent design theme that you'll see across all the AIM structures in the world. You're gonna come up against a wide variety of AIM threats as you play through the world of Marvel's Avengers.
The collaboration with Intel and Crystal started out about 2 years ago. We wanted to enhance what it feels like to take them on. The armor destruction really enhances the battles and gives you a more visceral experience.
So the heroes can destroy all these robotic enemies that are in the world. Various parts will fall off of them, they can tear parts off of them. We turn them into physics objects and they remain in the world for an extended period of time so that later when you interact with the environment, all these objects are there to react to the superhero moves that you make.
Pieces fly off enemies as you attack them. You can see that they've been beat up. They're missing armor pieces, and it really adds a feel of destruction to taking down one of those large robots.
E é claro, a história, né, que foi toda elaborada à risca as regras da Marvel para que fizesse sentido do começo ao fim. Então teve todo esse super cuidado aí para que ela fosse não só fiel ao universo, né, da Marvel, mas também que ela fosse super empolgante.
With this type of experience, we want to make sure that we build a world that not only is fun to explore and learn more about its history, but is also going to pave the way for future storytelling experiences.
This is what I love about Marvel. Everything has to come from story. What locations best serve the story and what can we celebrate? There's some key places for me. I mean, the helicarrier prior to 8A. And being able to go check out all the different things like Cap's shield at his booth, the Iron Man booth, seeing the hologram.
We were just able to push the creative vision further, and we really invested hard on the tech in order to make sure that we'd be able to support the ambition of the game we wanted to make.
To enhance the environments in Marvel's Avengers, we chose to add a new water simulation that's physically based and allows boats to float on it and objects that get tossed in to create a ripple effect. And one of the biggest examples of that is the helicarrier crash after the Golden Gate Bridge level. It really looks like deep ocean water, and it behaves like deep ocean water.
And then going back to the helicarrier after 8A.
For a lot of things like the helicarrier, they evolve over time incrementally. And in those cases, we use a modular approach. So you have the helicarrier immediately after A-Day. It's mothballed, it's a derelict, it's going unused.
A destroyed helicarrier. Abandoned rooms, the crew quarters, oh, this is Bruce Banner's room, this is Thor's room.
And then over time, it starts to get revitalized.
You know, getting to experience that and seeing even the restoration of the helicarrier makes the helicarrier one of my favorite locations, period.
You know, we picked all these biomes because we wanted areas that were very visually distinct. The Pacific Northwest, Utah Badlands, the Eastern Seaboard, some city environments. We also needed to support all the different mechanics of the various players. So Iron Man can fly, and the Hulk can bound, and Kamala can grow and stretch and grab, you know, ledges at a distance and pull herself to them.
And you know, that's part of sort of even the traversal at the beginning of the game, was just seeing Kamala just going through, just having fun on the rooftops of Jersey. We wanted to at least represent New Jersey and kind of show her in her element. She knows it, she lives it. Everything from the design, the feel of the city, even the particular abandoned water tank that she used, you know, the team researched and brought images of those old water tanks in New Jersey. Getting to experience these things as a player on the stick, as Kamala, as she experiences in real time, is part of why she is the perfect choice.
I'll take my chances.
The world of Marvel's Avengers takes familiar characters and gives them new stakes to create an experience you've never seen, read, and more importantly, played before. As exciting as it is to experience a new story and a new world, in episode 3, we'll show you how it's even better to reassemble your own team, become an Avenger, and embrace your powers.
You want to see powers? Here we go.
E aí, curtiu conhecer um pouco mais do jogo? Então deixa o seu like aí, se inscreve no nosso canal para saber sempre que sair um vídeo novo e comenta pra gente também o que você acha da Kamala, beleza? Eu sou o Shige da Intel e até a próxima, galera. Falou!